Hi, Mr. Ketchum, back again, and we're going to talk about the radical reconstruction. The Republicans right here, they are in charge of the Congress. They're in charge of the House, they're in charge of the Senate, and they have the same goals that Lincoln had, but they're putting a little twist on it still. They are using the federal army as the enforcers to make sure that the Constitution is followed. So they set up these military acts. And basically, what the military act was, the federal government broke the South up into 5 separate districts. They broke the South up, and each district had a military general in charge of them. Now, the military was there to make sure that the laws were enforced and to make sure that voting was done fairly and accurately, making sure that blacks had a chance to vote and blacks were represented. These newly freed slaves were represented, I should say. So the governments that they're dealing with right now are the same state governments that were used during the Civil War, these Confederate state governments. They're not very cooperative. They're not helping out. So the United States government enforces new elections. The state governments say, no, we don't want to accept those new state elections because we had a very low voter turnout. And so now they're not accurate at all. The United States federal government comes back and says, well, okay, you know what? We're going to make those elections count. And so we want you to pass new constitutions. The state governments come back and they say, no, those aren't right. Those aren't accurate. And so finally the federal government goes in and they put in new state elections and they bring in new state governments. All the while this is happening, President Andrew Johnson is using his executive powers to block whatever Congress is doing at all turns. He's slowing down the military. He's putting in a new Secretary of War. And so finally, Congress has had enough, and so they impeach Andrew Johnson, basically meaning that they're holding him under contempt. They're putting him through a court trial. One vote in the Senate is all it took to would have taken to throw Andrew Johnson out. Andrew Johnson is able to stay as president, and he kind of stays quiet for the rest of his term. Meanwhile, the 14th Amendment is being passed, and the 14th Amendment said that all citizens have the same rights. It doesn't matter what color you are, what nationality you are, it doesn't matter your background. If you're a U.S. citizen, you have the same rights. And we're going to see that that's going to make a difference whenever Grant wins the election, which is coming up next.